In today's daily briefing, I want to talk to you about the return of gospel communities. Yes, friends, gospel communities are coming back. What we're seeing this week is more and more businesses beginning to plan for their reopening. Just this morning, Goodwill announced that all of its stores in Omaha will reopen on May 11th. The reason you're seeing more and more businesses sort of go public with their reopening plans is because the governor's directed health measure is set to expire on April 30th, as is the Douglas County Health Department's directed health measure. If you remember, directed health measures are just prescriptions that are given that basically say, hey, for the sake of public health, here's the restrictions we're putting on life. So that directed health measure is the reason why we haven't been able to gather with more than 10 people for the last 6 weeks or so. All those measures are slated to expire on April 30th. Now, I anticipate that we're not going to go back to normal on April 30th. There will probably be some sort of new set of regulations. Maybe they'll increase that number to 20 or less or 50 or less. It could even go as high as 100. I don't know what the sort of new rules will be, but I know that they will sort of begin to reopen life as of May 1st. And so what that means for us as Cormdale Church is that starting May 1, starting at the beginning of May, we are going to start gathering again as gospel communities. We've functionally said, hey, for the month of April, don't even worry about getting together, meet on Zoom, check in with each other, but, stay at home, follow the rules, worry about yourself and your family. That's kind of been our approach in April. In May, we want to not just encourage you, but actually urge you to reconnect again as a gospel community. I think 6 weeks of isolation does things to our soul, and we actually need to be together to pray, to encounter the word together, and to encourage one another. Now, of course, there are going to be some of you who, because you have immunosuppressed conditions or you have a high risk factor, you maybe want to be a little more conservative before you step back into gospel community, and that's fine. We're not mandating that you have to. But what I want you to hear is, as broadly as possible, for all of us who are healthy and safe, we want to begin gathering together as gospel communities again, starting the first week of May. And so I want you to begin anticipating that. I want you to begin talking with people in your gospel community about, hey, how do we want to gather? I want you to begin to make plans for what that's going to look like, because that's the first sort of little platoon within which we're going to be able to gather again as the people of God. And I think it's really crucial that we do that, okay? So beginning in May, gospel communities, back on, go for it. If anything changes with that, if there's some new directed health measure that comes down, if there's some reason why things are more restricted, I will let you know that. But we have every expectation that beginning in May, we're good to meet again as gospel communities. Now, I keep telling you, I don't know what the restrictions will be for Sundays. I don't know if we'll be able to gather or not, and I'll let you know as soon as we know something. But for sure, we want to begin gathering as gospel communities the first week of May. So plan for that. Pray toward that, and begin to prepare for that. This Sunday, of course, as I've told you repeatedly, we're going to be in the parking lot together. And so for some reason, it feels better to me to preach to your car than it does to preach to a camera. I don't know why. Both are inanimate objects. Your car does not feel any more personal to me than a camera lens, but I don't know, for some reason it feels more realistic. And so I'm looking forward to being out there in the parking lot. Hey, actually, the cool thing is a team of men in our church are actually building a little makeshift stage for that service. And so that'll be happening over the weekend. And so Sunday morning when you show up, you'll be directed into a parking spot in a very orderly fashion. It's not just find your own parking spot. There's going to be people directing you where to park. We're going to try to fill it up in order so that we can get people out in order and so that everything works in an orderly manner and we can maximize as much of the space as possible. So for my part, looking forward to being out there with you in the parking lot on what looks to be a beautiful Sunday morning. And so I will see you then, and I will see you on Monday for another daily briefing. This is the last briefing for this week, and so I'll see you again on Monday with more news and information both about what's going on in the world and about what's going on as a church. So until then, I'll see you Sunday morning.